He is our blue Protoss player playing for Prep Esports, hailing from Korea. Give it up for BYUL.
And playing for the team of Storm Gaming. Getting quite cheeky here in game number 1. Give it up for GUMIHO.
Oh man, look at that building positioning.
Yeah.
That is lovely.
I feel like an SCV might get stuck in the middle, which, you know, of course you can just lift off the barracks later on, but yeah. Now I'm wondering how this is going to turn out for BYUL, because he did of course go pool before hatch. In theory, that should mean that the Lings are out faster, that BYUL might be a little bit more prepared for this 2 racks. Now this Overlord is about to scout. Yeah, I think that if it continues on its current path, it will actually see these 2 proxy racks.
Yep, he does have vision on it right now, and he knows what's up. Let's see how he responds. Looks like 8 Lings on the production. Yeah, I think this is going to be a great start here for BYUL. Of course, it all comes down to execution, but at least he has the right setup to deny this, and it looks like, yeah, he will at least, at the very least, delay the bunker. And by the way, Hyper Xavier in the live chat saying, nice to meet you guys here from Chile, and we welcome you, as we all love our international fans.
That's right.
And of course, StarCraft 2 is an international game, and looks like GUMIHO will be pulling out his international flavor with this Korean cheese.
Oh, this is so interesting. I want to note earlier that BYUL did actually put down a Roachborn as well as a second extractor, ended up canceling both. So I feel like BYUL, you know, decided, hey, I can actually just hold this with what I have. Now, of course, the Marines and the SCVs have been held off. Both SCVs actually did go down. Of course, there was the Queen that got moved down from the high ground. But, of course, these Lings by themselves are not going to be enough to deal with the sheer amount of Marines, at least for now. Now, the Marines are going to try to target down this Overlord. They will get it, but not without being separated first. So it looks like GUMIHO is going to lose these first few Marines. But on the other side of the map, GUMIHO is in a little bit of trouble. He does have some SCVs repairing the supply depots, so both players just sort of testing the waters, seeing what kind of damage they can do.
Yeah, it looks like GUMIHO should be okay with this full wall off. Of course, he does have to sacrifice a bit of mineral repairs and also SCV minings, but in general, he should be okay. I think that's one of the, of course, the best part of being a Terran is that you can proxy, but if things go wrong, you can still wall off at the front and still be safe with the repairs. But yeah, great start here for BYUL. I mean, right now, he can pretty much do anything he wants in terms of maybe droning up like crazy, maybe spreading those creep tumors instead of wasting them on spawning larva, because he knows that he doesn't really need a lot of units right now. So he can kind of get away with a couple of things. And we'll see how GUMIHO responds. So far, he is kind of transitioning into a second CC as well as some racks. Sometimes you do see some Terrans, they actually throw down a third command center and just be extra greedy in order to kind of come back, because they're a bit behind economically. But looks like GUMIHO will go ahead and just go for one CC for the time being.
Yeah, on the other side of the map, of course, BYUL able to take advantage of the early game, putting down that third hatchery in the triangle-based location, as well as almost finishing up that layer. So I feel like BYUL might want to go for, I mean, just a wild guess, but I feel like mutas are a pretty good option.
Yeah, I agree. I think Mutalisk having that, you know, that kind of air control as well as the map control, I think it will be pretty nice for him. I mean, there is a lot of I guess dead airspace, at least towards the left side of the main base, that he can kind of fly through. But in the meantime, he will have to at least deal with these pesky Hellions. And so far, no damage. And there we have it, Spire.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see some, you know, more or less standard Bio versus Lingbane Muta play. Of course, we do have Stim coming up. The Baneling Nest is almost done. Is already done. But one thing that I feel is missing from BYUL so far is the Evo Chamber, right? We're not seeing any upgrades being queued. We're not seeing any Evo Chambers being built. So a little bit interesting, but to be fair, his opponent does not have the engineering base just yet as well.
Yeah, that's a good sign because he's right now investing a lot of gas into these Banelings and Bang Speed and Spire and Mutalisk. So yeah, he's gonna try to cut the evolution chamber as a way to cut corners. But luckily for him, GUMIHO, because of his failed cheese in the beginning, does have late upgrades himself. I don't think he has a. Does he even have an engineering bay? Nope, no engineering.
I don't think so. Nope. But hopefully for GUMIHO, that will not matter as his armory does finish up. Stim does finish up as well. The queens in the front are under fire. The Banelings and Lings are going to come in from the back. Pretty decent splits. The Hellions are still alive, actually. Ooh, and a hot pickup on 6 of those Marines as well. The rest of the Hellions do get cleaned up, and all in all, BYUL is able to hold that, losing a queen as well as a lot of the Lingbane. But Mutas are on the way, and I think once the Mutas are out, GUMIHO is going to get shut down even harder.
Yeah, because once those Mutalisk comes out, that means there's no really decent way to retreat. Now, of course, this map does have that middle rock area, so maybe he can kind of get away with it. But eventually, the Lings will catch up, and so he's got to be careful. If he's kind of overextends too long, then those Mutalisks can't come back to snipe off those medevacs. But luckily for him, the Mutalisk has gone across the map, so he can kind of harass here and pick up into the main base. But now the Mutalisks are getting on top of the productions, and we'll see if he can kind of cancel that combat ship. Looks like he does not quite get it in time, but we'll go ahead and dive into the mineral line.
Ooh. Okay, so these Marines are going to do their best to stim on forward, try and see if they can pick off any of these Mutas. Now, of course, back at home, BYUL is safely macroing up, putting down a few more drones, actually getting a very good amount of SCV kills with the Mutas as well. So far, 20 SCVs have gone down. I was just about to mention that their worker counts were actually a bit too similar for my liking, you know, right? The Zerg needs to be pretty significantly ahead, ideally, and that was not the case before the Muta attack. But now that the Mutas have gone in and done their damage, I mean, losing 20 SCVs in any scenario is not good.
Yeah, so he, at the very least, pulls ahead in terms of the economy there. As we can pull up the eco graph here. Yep, as you can see, GUMIHO was leading it just for a little bit, but all of a sudden, BYUL boosts up into the stratosphere with the economy. And now, GUMIHO going to go ahead and finally now start to establish his third base. And ooh, a little bit of a cheeky maneuver there, burrowing 3 Widow Mice. Oh. I'm wondering if these Mutalisks are actually going to be able to see them, but man, wouldn't it be pretty juicy if those Widow Mice can connect with those Mutalisks?
How many Widow Mines is enough, right? It's obviously not 1. And according to GUMIHO, 2 is not enough. Man, I'm gonna get high blood pressure. Oh, another Widow Mine behind the barracks. I love it. BYUL able to see the small, tiny little tracking laser, you know, microing back just in time. And I mean, the reaction time to be able to play at such a high level is just, it never fails to amaze me.
Yeah, these guys are so quick with the reaction. Oh, actually, nice triggering there. We'll be able to take out all 3 Widow Mice. Nice.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, excellent micro, you know, making sure that the Widow Mines do fire, not erroneously, but, you know, just they do fire on the individual Zerglings, and then that way the Mutas can come back in to clean them up. Now, speaking of cleaning up, it looks like GUMIHO's drop in the main is not going to get much damage done. Mutas did try to deal a little bit more damage, taking down some SCVs, but so far it looks like that will not be enough. Yeah, honestly, I mean, BYUL is very far ahead, building up a little bit of a bank, but also quite ahead in terms of the supply and the economy. Upgrades are not too far behind the Terran as well, so that's like my main concern, right? I've played many games where, you know, the fighting gets so intense I forget to get my upgrades as the Zerg against the Terran. And then all of a sudden I find myself sitting on 0-0 going up against 2-2 bio, and it's just not good, right?
Yeah, not good at all. What's also not good is GUMIHO is getting absolutely run over here with all these Lings, Banelings, and Mutalisks, and all men, even some more Banelings to spare, and that is just too much. BYUL with an impressive, solid game number 1 victory. Alright, looks like we have a GUMIHO fan in the live chat with Hase Lun saying, "Let's go GUMIHO." Do we have any fans for BYUL out there? If you're a fan of him, make sure to let us know in the live chat, and we'll see if these players can deliver on the goods. So far, no cheese this far. This game here, thus far, as GUMIHO is like, you know what? Didn't work out. Didn't quite work out last game. I'm just gonna play
Take it easy.
Normal.
That's right. The reliable Reaper expand, of course, for GUMIHO. His opponent, on the other hand, getting a very quick pull as well as speed almost immediately, so taking advantage of that early gas. But it looks like it's just going to be speed for now, right? We do see the two drones being taken off the gas geyser, so only one is left in, meaning that BYUL is not going to go for something like a Baneling bust or a Roach Warren follow-up.
Yeah, I was also thinking like, oh, it's because sometimes you do see Zergs open up with the early pool just for the early Lings to kind of keep the Reaper preoccupied at home, and while the Zerg goes for a Roach follow-up. But yeah, like you mentioned, with the drone pulls off of gas, that is not going to be the case. But what will be the case is there is going to still be a delay here at the natural CC area. But GUMIHO,
a lot of SCVs being pulled as well. The Marine is going to help with the DPS back at home. The Reaper does have full reign of BYUL's natural, waiting for the Queen to come down to the low ground, and finally the drones on the low ground are going to continue unbothered. But yeah, that command center is going to finish. Speed for the Lings is going to finish as well. So we are going to see, you know, things calm down for just a little bit here in the early game.
alright, with the Hellions now, looks like BYUL will have to back out, or maybe he'll come in with the reinforcements, but I don't think he has quite enough.
Oh.
Or
yeah.
does he? Maybe. I don't know.
I was gonna say I didn't expect the, you know, reinforcements on the Lings, and they're actually just gonna dive right on top, see whatever they can pick off. I don't think that was a good move, right? We did see the Hellions staying alive, most of the Marines staying alive, but what I was oohing about was the early layer. So I'm wondering what BYUL is trying to go for. We do see all 4 gases being taken. So could this be just early mutas, or could this be something, I don't know, like Swarm Host Nidus?
I am thinking, yeah, this might be Mutalisks. I mean, we did see how good or how well BYUL was able to control those Mutalisks back in game 1, and I think he is going to go ahead and once again go into this Mutalisk play. It has been pretty effective, at least in the first game, and he is looking to replicate that success here in game number 2. But of course, GUMIHO, he is probably gonna have sight of this, as he is attempting to go for a drop, but only with 4 Marines, so maybe he's just dropping to snipe off kind of wandering overlords instead.
Oh, that overlord is fleeing for its life back to the safety of the Queens and the Lings. But look at this, we do see 4 Hellions and a Reaper coming across the map as well. Are they going to go in? Yeah, they are just going to ignore the Queens, running right past them. Lings are going to come in. Drones are going to be pulled off the line. 5 of them going down. But all in all, I'd say that, you know, for 4 Hellions, you might want a few more drones. Not only that, but the Spire and the Lair went unscouted. Or I should say the Lair and the Spire. Not the Spire and the Lair, but yeah, that 4 Marine drop is going to come back into the main. Not going to get a whole lot done, so, you know, BYUL's 4 and Queen positioning is pretty on point so far this game.
Yeah. Looks like BYUL will finally take that third base. But I think GUMIHO should at least have an idea that something is wrong. I mean, there is no third base. And he had 4 gases. That many gases? What is that for? I mean, I would expect that he will be building up those turrets very, very soon, as he does have his engineering base. Unless he missed it, or he was just not paying enough attention. I think right now would be a good time to plot down those turrets, but it looks like so far he has not.
Yeah, this is gonna cost him, you know, with the 8 meters coming across the map. If GUMIHO doesn't get up the missile turrets right now, there is a lot of damage potential for these mutalisks. Ooh, okay, so we do see that the mutas are actually, instead of going straight across the map, they will be used defensively to take care of that drop finally. But looks like the third base might be a little bit vulnerable. Marines are here to hold off whatever attack comes their way. Oh, one of the mutas getting so low on health. Excellent micro. You know, making sure that the weakened muta goes to the back.
Oh yeah. Oh man, there's a huge Ling run. Oh, well, I guess it wouldn't be huge, but a semi-huge run. Ling run by here. We'll go ahead and take a bunch of SCVs down. Oh man, so unfortunate. Unfortunate for GUMIHO. And it looks like he is just scrambling around these mutalisks, also diving in here into the main base, getting on top of the production buildings here. And all of a sudden, BYUL is just in a dominant position.
Yeah, excellent, excellent micro. Making sure to take advantage of GUMIHO's attention, you know, thinking to himself, hey, if your attention is on my mutalisks, what's to prevent me from just running in with my lings and killing a mineral line? And that is exactly what he did, right? This is how you break a Terran. Well, not just Terrans, but this is how you break any StarCraft player, is you just sort of want to pull them apart, right? It's so rare, especially at the pro level, where you see them taking one giant fight and then GG comes right after, right? Usually it's each player is testing each other constantly, and in this test, GUMIHO failed. He was not able to keep up with the Ling run-by. But now he's looking for a little bit of damage with the double drop to the north. They're searching for the mutas, which of course are back at the natural base of GUMIHO. In the meantime, his opponent is, you know, just macroing up, getting 1-1, which actually the Terran already has, but, you know, getting a 4th and a 5th base as well. So yeah, this is BYUL being dominant in game number 2.
Yeah, now the only thing he needs, I think, is... Oh, actually, you know what? Never mind. He has Centrifugal Hook's research, so he does have access to bailing speed. And so, yeah, he looks to be... I would expect that BYUL will be the one being on the offensive end, while GUMIHO will be kind of staying a little bit back until he can get some enough units to deal with the mutalisks at home, as well as deal enough damage back across at the Zerg side of the base. In the meantime, there is a 2-prong attack, one into the left side, one into the right side. The left side does take down the hatchery, but this right side, it looks like BYUL has the bulk of his army here to defend. But looks like GUMIHO is going to go ahead and look to put on pressure, but actually going to go ahead and just take out some creep tumor, and hoping recede this creep tumor as far as possible. And so far, he's doing a really nice job, because look at that creep spread. Not that impressive.
Oh, okay. Good save. The mutas were about to run into a bunch of Marines, but thankfully the Lings were also there, and so the mutas did not take too much damage. Now that the Lings, Banes, and mutas are across the map, however, looks like they will try to engage GUMIHO. GUMIHO is going to suffer a lot of losses with the Marines, as well as the SCVs over here at the third base location. 9 SCVs going down so far. Lings are going to get out. Mutas are going to route towards the main as well. So this was really sort of, you know, an outplaying by BYUL, just sort of calculating where GUMIHO is going to be, making sure that his army is in location to sort of stop it.
Oh, nice Widow Mine hit there. Very random Widow Mine placement, which sometimes is kind of the play of Clem. We just place random Widow Mines and hope that the Zerg will go ahead and run into him. And here we go. Looks like GUMIHO looking to take down this 6 o'clock base, but a lot of Banelings here on the field. GUMIHO, he's going to have to split his units for dear life.
Yeah, and here we see the advantage of, fighting off of creep. Now, another wave is going to go in. Widow Mines, are they going to burrow in time? Okay, it looks like they will get a pretty good detonation, but not without sacrificing themselves as well. However, the supply continues to go in favor of BYUL. I think that he's about to clean up this attack. At the same time, his Ling run-bys have been absolutely relentless this game. Another 14 SCVs going down, and BYUL takes game number 2.
Alright, so we are on game number 3 on Hardwire. And TeaDragon, I hope you are preparing your burger because there are some cheese coming here. Anyhow, this guy at the bottom left, he's our blue Terran player going for a YOLO build of some sort, I would imagine, from Storm Gaming. Put your hands together for GUMIHO.
That is right, and his opponent looking to take this series pretty decisively. Can he do it with a 3-0? It is Prep Esports BYUL.
Oh boy.
Yeah, oh boy is right. I mean, 3 racks, okay. 3 racks getting scouted by the Overlord, which is perfectly on track to scout it. Oh man, this is... I'm so sorry, GUMIHO. This is not going to go well. Or at the very least, it's not going to be as easy. But of course, we do see BYUL, first scouting with the Overlord, and then really quickly was about to send a bunch of drones over to, prevent the racks from being built. Of course, pulling them back once he realized that it was indeed 3 instead of 2 racks. Sending 1 drone onto the low ground just to prevent the SCV from building anything. But yeah, so far, it always fascinates me how the responses for 2 racks versus 3 racks, they're actually pretty different, I would say, right? So against 2 racks, the Zerg expects to, or you expect the Zerg to pull drones off the line in order to prevent the racks from being built. Whereas again, against a 3 racks, you just bide your time. You pull drones now, you make a spine if you want. But basically, you're pulling the drones when the Marines are already building, and you just want to try and catch the first 2 off guard. And speaking of catching, yeah, that first Marine is going to go down. That second Marine is getting pretty low. Spinecrawler is almost done back at home. Lings are out on the field as well, and they are going to take care of that SCV building the bunker. A bunch of drones are going to fall. 6 drones so far falling, but it is it enough to justify this? It might actually be, right? I'm not actually too sure.
Well, at the very least, the Spinecrawler is up, so if you can kind of reposition it, then you maybe be able to just feel confident enough to just send the Lings across. And luckily for GUMIHO, he does have those supply depot. But imagine if he had like an opening right now, like all these Lings can just basically come on through and just clean house. But it looks like GUMIHO has stopped or has elected to not continue with this push here, as he is sending back a couple of Marines. So that pretty much does it for this push. And remember, all right,
yeah, a little bit unfortunate. So GUMIHO was able to catch out the rest of the Lings. And yeah, that is, a lot of resources in the early game that were invested into the Lings. And of course, once they're dead, they're dead. They can't come back. They can't continue to provide value for BYUL. So I'd say, well, I don't know. What do you think, Snoopy? Was this 3 racks worth it for GUMIHO? I feel like it actually was, even though it was held.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think, it started off like a little bit questionable because, the Overlord did scatter early, but I mean, you got to remember he killed actually a decent amount of lings with those chasing the lings. Sorry, he killed a decent amount of drones because some of those drones were chasing after them to try to kill them. And then on top of that, he did catch out a bunch of lings there at the end. So I say all in all, I would favor GUMIHO's position. I mean, there's 700 resources lost for BYUL versus the 250 resources lost for GUMIHO. So all in all, I would say that was pretty more efficient trade there for GUMIHO.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, he's been ahead in the worker count pretty much this entire game. Only now is BYUL finally able to catch up, right? Both of them are just about to hit the 30 worker mark, but before this, I mean, it was something crazy like 18 drones to 25 SCVs, and of course, you know, GUMIHO did have the disadvantage of only being on one base, but that is no longer the case, right? We do see the low ground command center finishing up as well. These spine crawlers up at the front are also resources being spent that don't actually have a return on anything for the time being. Now, we do see an Evo chamber, so this is going to... I don't know, could this be something like +1 melee for BYUL? I feel like that is possible, but maybe not necessarily the most practical.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's just for +1 melee. I mean, I think he realizes that he probably will have to rely on his lings for the foreseeable future, being that he needs to re-macro up and kind of pull ahead on the work account. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he just went for that +1 melee. Oh, actually, +1 armor works as well. That can transition into roaches if he decides to go for roaches or mulus, or so not mulus, banelings as well. So yeah, so I think right now he is going to just rely on ling and banelings for the time being, while he's trying to catch us up on the economy. But oh, his economy might actually take a hit here.
A very, very nice defense from BYUL for now. Does get that Evo Chamber blocked. Very cheeky, very cute. Making sure that the Hellion drop doesn't actually get into the mineral line. Now, of course, that Hellion, the 4 Hellions and the medevac are going to stay in the back line, trying to see whatever damage they can do. But there is a Queen on location, ready to make sure that that medevac is not getting out alive. Now, these Marines are going to come in towards the 3rd base. They are going to start shooting away, you know, they're going to take care of some creep, they're going to move on out of there because they realize, hey, we probably cannot overstay our welcome. But as I say that, they stim forward, they are going to gun down the first spine crawler. Actually, it will get transfused in time. A lot of transfuses going down, and I think that was actually a really good move by BYUL. At the same time, the Hellion drop does come back into the main, roasting quite a few drones. I'm not sure if that was worth it, but honestly, any amount of drones that you can kill is good.
Yeah, at this point, when he's the one that is ahead on the worker count, which is never a good sign here for the Zerg player, I think trading out for drones isn't the worst decision here. And, you know, he still stays ahead on the economy. A little bit of a comeback for here for BYUL, as I think he produced a bunch of drones. But look at the army supply. GUMIHO is pretty decently ahead, about 22 army supply ahead, and this is gonna be quite ugly if BYUL does not have his banelings and those banelings in position.
Oh man, this is gonna be a bloodbath. I mean, granted, these lings do have +1 armor, but look at that. They're just gonna melt against these Marines, and GG is called. GUMIHO takes game number 3.
Yeah, I think that game could have gone much differently for BYUL, but in the end, GUMIHO was able to execute it to the end and claim victory. And now we have ourselves a game number 4, as this guy here at the top right looking to close it out and put a hope to any potential reverse all kill. He is our red Zerg from Prep Esports. Give it up for BYUL.
And his opponent on the path to a reverse sweep, it is Psystorm Gaming's GUMIHO.
Alright, so as we wait for this game to commence, I never got your thoughts on the kind of the big news of the Microsoft acquisition of Blizzard and Activision. It was I was casting with Vitamin at the time, and the news
Yeah.
broke. And yeah, I never got your thoughts on it. Do you have any opinions or?
Yeah. I think, you know, it's good for the StarCraft franchise, right? Microsoft has a history of treating older franchises pretty well, especially if they have a very dedicated fan base, which of course StarCraft 2 has, in my opinion, one of the most dedicated fan bases, player bases. But you know, that means that it's good for StarCraft. Who knows? There have been a few rumors of a StarCraft 3. I did not say that, right? I'm just repeating what other people said. But, you know, aside from that, I think that it's obviously bad for the gaming industry, right? Like, this is just yet another monopoly that we have to deal with. But, you know, aside from that, it's good for StarCraft, I'd say.
Yeah, I've heard pretty much overall positive comments on this because, you know, I think a lot of people recognizes that the way that StarCraft 2 was going under the Activision era, it was not heading into a great direction. So with this Microsoft acquisition, hopefully things can turn around. But I mean, at the very least, it can't really go much worse. I don't believe. But what could be worse for BL is if this hatchery goes down to these couple of Marines. Does he have anything underway? Oh boy, I don't think he has much underway.
This is so interesting. I really like this from GUMIHO, right? Just sort of, I mean, not exactly trying to kill anything aside from the third base. Now, that third base will be canceled because, you know, of course, BYUL not exactly expecting it, not exactly ready for it. And yeah, GUMIHO just gets to, you know, get on out of there, salvaging the bunker. And yeah, making sure that... Well, it's funny because both of them essentially lost 100 minerals each.
Well, at the very least, he does delay some of the economy of BL. So even though they lost, both these players lost 100 resources each, I think GUMIHO will take it in the end. Especially with such little commitment. Just a couple of Marines and like a bunker that he was able to salvage. And so yeah, all in all, I think this is a pretty decent start for GUMIHO, but of course it's still not over yet. It was a little bit of a setback, but it wasn't a huge setback for our Red Zerg. So let's see how our Red Zerg responds. So far it looks like he wait, did he scout? Okay, he did scout the starport with the tech lab. Okay, so I was wondering why he's putting down some spores, but it looks like he is anticipating potential banshees on the way. But looks like it's just going to be Raven production.
Yeah, well, the Banshee with Cloak is coming across the map right now, so that spore is not going to phase jump in time, but that Banshee is also not going to find any drones to kill just yet. So I suspect that the Banshee will eventually move. Oh, wow, actually, it's just going to target down the Queen. I like that move a lot, right? It's also a fairly high-energy Queen. Also able to get another drone kill before the Hellions come back in for a follow-up. So, honestly, I thought this was going to go a lot worse for BYUL. I thought that the Banshee was going to get a ridiculous amount of damage. But, you know, good on BYUL for being able to scout the starport, like you said earlier, you know, the starport with the tech lab on it. But yeah, it looks like we're just going to go into a 1-1 stim timing as a follow-up for GUMIHO. And then I suspect we might see some more Mutalisk play. Well, it looks like Aspire is not on the way. So I think it's just going to be Ling Bane for the time being.
Yep, it looks like Ling Baneling for the time being, as he is getting all the Baneling's Nest, the melee upgrades, along with the armor. Where's that Banshee? Okay, there we go. Oh man, this is going to be so annoying for BL with this Banshee and Raven taking out creep tumors. It's like
Yeah.
every time he plants one, it's like it gets taken down.
Yeah, and then the Banshee. Oh, okay, it does actually get away from the queens. Now, what I like about creep timbers is that you can place them on receding creep, and as long as the animation is started, they will go down. It doesn't matter if they continue to be on creep or not; they will keep on building, and I do like that. But yeah, so both players are just sort of in a power-up phase, right? We do see combat shield coming up after the stim upgrade has been finished. 1-1 for both players, and of course Baneling speed for our red Zerg. A fourth base is also being taken, a little bit overdue, but given how this game started, I do think that that is, pretty standard, standard timed. But yeah, it's going to be onto BYUL to hold off this first 1-1 push.
All right, looks like GUMIHO has learned his lesson. He in the first 2 games, all those Ling backdoor run bys was kind of a really big detriment to him, and so he's going to leave some Hellions back at home while getting them repaired at the same time. And here we go. He's going to go ahead and put on some pressure here at the 4th base. Baneling speed has kicked in, so GUMIHO is going to have to be careful, but he does have a tank here at the backside, but only 1 tank isn't the scariest. So looks like BYUL is going to go ahead and, smartly, Michael will set up a surround the flank. That will be pretty sweet.
Ooh, yeah, I do like this, right? You keep the Banelings in the front along with the Queens, and of course you try to get a Ling wrap. Of course, that is not going to be quite the case. A couple of Lings are going to cleverly scout out the Marines over at the Watchtower, so I do like that move a lot. Actually, these Lings are going to straight up go for a counter attack. I do like it in theory, but there will be Marines, as well as Hellions, I just noticed. And they're going to roast a lot of these Lings, so they're not going to get too much done. Banelings are going to roll on in here. Oh my gosh! Okay, they do get 8 and counting SCVs. But the main Marine force over at the 4th base of BYUL is putting on a lot of pressure. Oh, but the Banelings are getting pretty dangerously close. They are going to force a liftoff. That tank is not going to survive. But there will be a triple drop in the main base as a follow-up.
I apologize for that little bit of a lag. Hopefully it's fixed now. Oh, actually, never mind. It just popped up. Maybe I should pause, but I don't know if it's the best time to pause right now. Okay,
how is your ping, Snoopy?
Right now it's sitting at 249. Oh boy.
Okay, so we do see, the Raven actually getting the anti-armor missile onto a lot of those Lings and Banes. We do see a pretty big run by over at the 3rd base. And I gotta give it to BYUL. BYUL is excellent with his run bys. He always finds some sort of damage. And for some reason, I mean, somehow he's still holding on to this 4th base. And, just making sure that it stays alive. Now, he will pull the trigger finally on the Ling Bane, defense, and he will stream on forward, trying to see whatever Marines he can find. He will clean up the rest of the Marines for now, but there are reinforcements for GUMIHO coming up. But yeah, I mean, so far, BYUL is still able to take the lead, at least economically, making sure that his opponent is not able to, attack without knowing that there is a counterattack back at home.
Yeah, so a little bit of a chaotic couple of minutes here as both players are just trading back and forth. And all in all, who do you prefer in terms of their position right now after all that? I mean, I'm looking at the worker supply and I'm like, okay, BYUL looks to be quite healthy. But then I'm looking at the army supply for GUMIHO. I'm like, okay, maybe not.
Yeah, this is one of those weird games, right, where they seem to be very even on supply, and yet the type of supply is just so drastically different. One player, of course, having a much higher worker count, the other player, of course, having a much higher army count. So, given their positions, I do like what BYUL is doing, but I do think that eventually he will need to decide to just get one really good cleanup on GUMIHO's army, because right now that is not exactly happening. Now the Banes are going to stream on through, trying to take care of this drop over at his third base, and they will take care of it. There is a drop at the fourth base as well, so now this is sort of where GUMIHO is comfortable, right, where he's pulling apart his opponent. He also has units back at home trying to take care of any stragglers, any Lings and Banes that might still be trying to do a run-by. I do like what BYUL is doing, right? He's going for the Hydras, which are going to help his army to really just sort of have a presence on the map, making sure that, unlike the Lings and Banes, they're not just going to melt immediately. But, yeah, this is getting pretty scary in favor of GUMIHO, right? Like, his supply lead is growing, and these run-bys are doing less and less damage.
Yeah, it seems like GUMIHO has kind of adapted to the playstyle of BYUL in regards, at least to the Ling run-bys. He's now being much aware of it right now, and he's preparing for it. And so BYUL is not actually finding the damage that he's been getting in the, at least in the first 2 games with those Ling run-bys. And GUMIHO, he's relentless. He is not letting up on the pressure. He is not giving BYUL any opportunity to build up to a respectable enough of an army. And here we go. BYUL gonna go ahead and try to do one last stand for this 12 o'clock base, but I just don't think it's quite enough.
Look at that huge group of Marines. Are they going to be able to get all of these Banelings in time? Yeah, it looks like they will. The Hydras are all that's left standing, but GG is called. GUMIHO takes game number 4. Man, that is so interesting. I wonder why GUMIHO placed the barracks over there rather than in the wall.
All right. Oh, well, yeah, I guess that... Yeah, I think this makes sense because the way this spawn position is, it's a little bit weirder to be placing your add-ons at that ramp area. So I think... I mean, I have seen this from players like BYUL, most noticeably, where they would just build their barracks, just a bit further back instead.
Yeah, is that because they want the Overlord to see and freak out? No, because the Overlord does actually see the barracks off to the side, so yeah, I guess it's just going to be a reactor with 2 Marines as a follow-up. Now, we do see that factory being built way in the back as well. So already this game, both players are deviating a little bit from the standard. Of course, we do see BYUL opening with the quick speed as he did in, I believe, game number 2. So now it's going to be onto GUMIHO to respond adequately. Now, is this SCV going to go down? It will be immediately pulled. Very good reaction time by GUMIHO, but these Marines are going to, see what kind of damage they can do. Getting the Zerglings very low on health, and so far, I don't think that the early pool is going to give GUMIHO, or excuse me, the early pool is not going to give BYUL too much benefit.
Alright, crucial thing to note is that those 2 Lings were blocked off from scouting off those factories. So right now, BYUL doesn't really have full vision and does not know 100% what's coming his way. He should be at least a bit wary that there was only 1 Rax and no factory. So maybe his antenna is a bit up, but right now he doesn't have a full confirmation on what's to come. But I don't think it even matters because he's just going to go ahead and absolutely surround these Marines.
Oh, I love this move. I love this move a lot. GUMIHO obviously trying to be a little bit more confident, right? Making sure that he has a lot of Marines, but moving them out onto the map. And then BYUL, on the other hand, recognizing that, hey, you're not making Hellions, you're making Marines. And of course, Marines are, at this stage in the game, a lot more vulnerable than Hellions are to those Lings. So I like that move a lot. Now, on the other hand, I do like GUMIHO's follow-up. We will see that Starport building a Banshee as well as getting Cloak for the Banshee. So there is a lot of potential for damage here. But, overall, that was maybe not exactly what GUMIHO was expecting. He did lose a bunch of Marines there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame him because, why would you even expect a bunch of Lings to just come your way out of nowhere? You don't usually see that quite often. Because the idea is that, Terran players, they open up with Hellions so much that Zerg has like not really gone for that bunch of links follow up and do a surprise attack. But you know what? It worked there for BYUL, unfortunately for GUMIHO. And now BYUL, all he needs to do is prepare for these cloak banshees, and it looks like he will, as he has his queens into position, he has his spore crawlers up, he just finished a lair, so that's going to give him access to the overseers, and that will allow him to follow up on these banshees. This banshee though will scout the spire, so at the very least he knows that spire tech, there are potential for Mutalisk to come his way in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, both players are sort of, not exactly doing anything new, but what they are doing is keeping track of each other's playstyle and really adapting to it, right? So we did see that Cloak Banshee, obviously not able to get a whole lot done in terms of economic damage, but like you said earlier, Snoopy, able to scout out the Spire. So overall, GUMIHO is in a much better position than he was in game number 2 to deal with this, because already he started Widowmine production, he's continuing to build up a lot of Marines, and the Mutas, if they don't get a lot of damage, I would not be that surprised.
Yeah, sometimes with Mutalisk, it's kind of like a lot of it comes down to the element of surprise, and so when the element of surprise is gone, it's like it gets quite harder to find damage with those Mutalisks. I mean, you can kind of pick up some things here and there, but I mean, by the time the Mutalisk comes, you would expect that BYUL will have at least some decent amount of anti-air, and I think that because of that, I think BYUL will only commit to a handful of Mutalisks instead of a bunch of them. I could be wrong though, as it looks like he is making a bit more. I don't blame him, because in the past couple of games his Mutalisk plays has been superb. So maybe even though he did get scouted, he's like, okay, you know what, I'm going to have good enough control that I can make stuff happen. But looks like GUMIHO is going to go across the map himself and try to make things happen as well. These Mutalisks almost catching some of these Mutalisks, or sorry, these Marines. Oh!
One of mine did get a pretty good hit off. Now, it's surprisingly, or well, not surprisingly, but it always surprises me personally. Only one Muta is going to go down, the one that was targeted. The rest of them are going to suffer the splash damage, but they're not going to fall just yet. Now, of course, this Hellbat drop, Hellbat push up at the front is pretty deadly. This is a pretty good sort of position for the Marines and Hellbats to be in. They are going to just keep on roasting those Lings, and finally they're going to break on through. The Mutas are not actually doing all too well either. It's down to just one Marine versus one Muta. These 3 queens, obviously giving the Zerg a bit more staying power, but all in all, I'd say that the trades went pretty decently in favor of the Terran, at least in terms of that one fight. But if we look at the resources lost tab, yeah, the Zerg has been losing significantly more than the Red Terran player.
Yeah, and it's not like he has like a bunch of bank behind it so that he can afford to lose more minerals and more resources. He doesn't have that economic edge. So right now, GUMIHO, he looks to be in great shape, and he just needs to finish off BYUL, and he might be able to do so, especially since these Banelings has no Baneling speed.
Ooh, yeah, these Widowmines are of course doing the best work that they can. Mutas are going to try to chase away the Medivacs, but I mean, more Widowmines are here, more Marines are on the way, and I think this is the start of the end, right? Like, we've got GUMIHO just continually pushing in here with his stream of Marines and Widowmines and Medivacs. And these Mutas are not able to do anything much against the Marines, and of course the Banelings, when they're slow, they really are not a good unit just yet.
Yeah, as you can see, basically all the Mutalisk gets taken out, as well as the majority of the Banelings. So yeah, that Baneling speed really hurting right now. As I'm sure BYUL would love to have that during the fight. It would have made the fight so much easier. But instead now it looks like GUMIHO is just streaming red across the map. And this might potentially get into a snowball effect, especially with these Widowmine hits.
Ooh. Wow, pretty decent splits considering they were in the moment. Now, I'm pretty sure that Widowmine was manually targeted onto the Bane Lane. Maybe. Actually, I'm not too sure, but it sure seemed like it. Yeah, these Widowmines are, you know, consistently getting a bunch of value. GUMIHO coming back in here for yet another wave, just as his +2 attack is just about to finish. And I don't think... Yeah, BYUL is not going to be able to... Unless he gets, like, one really good trade, I don't think he's going to be able to keep this up because, I mean, his supply is dipping. Another good Widowmine hit. Another good pickup into the medevacs. This is just not enough. Yeah, GG is called. GUMIHO with the reverse sweep, taking the last 3 games.